Hi, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on when you're watching this. My name is Tyree Dickey, and I will be sharing with you some feedback on how I felt about my own instructions, and what I observed during my instruction when teaching first graders about number bonds. It's something new for myself, which is pretty much why I stumbled a lot, which is no excuse, but it is a reality. This is my first experience working with older children. So, and I was very nervous, and it was the last 10 minutes of the day, like before dismissal. So the nerves were like all over the place, just wanting to make sure that students were engaged, they were learning, and also making sure no one missed the bus. So all of that, I, I, I saw kind of, I, in my instruction. So just giving myself having more time would have been great. That way I could have, really, um, really centered myself and was able to give more, a little more clear instruction, especially when it came down to naming the objects that I was using. So having some things there and would be something that I can pay more attention to. So, and especially when introducing something for the first time, it's that is very important. But I did notice a strength of, to keep going. Sometimes you just have to keep going because kids are so forgiving, and they're loving, and they will support you, especially when your heart is in it. I did, and my heart was definitely in it. Um, and also, what I could have did a lot better was just to name not just the shape but the colors, because the one color that I used, they were the same shapes again, but the colors were different. But I did not even mention low. I have five green shapes and I have five red shapes, to kind of identify or differentiate. What's the word? Forgive me, my southern tongue sometimes gets in the way. To kind of differentiate that important part of it, especially when you're dealing with number bombs and parts and wholes. So part of my circles were green and part of my circles um, was again red, and just sharing that out so that kids could understand that, how you combine those two things, um, or at least to play into part, like how to recognize, um, just just some key factors when it comes down to instruction, if that makes any sense. Another thing was wishing that I had more time so that all the students could have gotten an opportunity to have a time to count and the items and the materials, um, and also to have them to do it on their own. That would have also been great. And also, right, I wish I would have had I would have put a used maybe paper on the board, I mean on the wall, and just write on it as we were just, adding those numbers so they can actually see it when they see it on the paper, and using that item, um, and on the floor, the materials on the floor, and also connecting with that's on that little chart that I had, because when we're in instruction, most times is, they're on a desk and they're using dittos. So I want them to connect with live materials as well as how it looks in the paper form. Um, if and I'm hoping you understand that. Um, so uh, yeah, though that was some of the things, and I do want to also say that it was the last 10 minutes before school ended, before we had to gather our book bags and run to our stations, which was bus duty or pickups. And this week were difficult because we had a lot of diagnostics using iReady. So we did not have the allotted time needed to really kind of kind of take more time into providing an activity that really carried this much excitement. Because as you can see, that the kids, all the students, were engaged. They wanted to be a part of it, and they enjoyed, you know, being in that setting, in that group. And they also was, we had a connection, and I love connecting with these little ones. I am so in love um, with these little kings and queens that I had the pleasure of seeing every day, and just having the opportunity to support their growth. So yeah, so again, it was a couple things. One, being consistent with how I describe what we're doing, um, and why we're doing it. Two, describing the if there are colors or if there are shapes, just being consistent, being clear with my instructions. Um, Three, having more time to really um, give all the children opportunities to participate. Um, Four, it would be perhaps to uh, really sit with the material and be able to practice, perhaps with my teacher, so that she can really uh, educate me on the instruction prior to, before I have the opportunity to kind of duplicate the learning and include my own type of interactions, how I want to interact or how I want to share it, my in the way that I am comfortable with. So again, just familiarizing myself with what I'm teaching, and so that it comes off um, just clearer. Because at this age, it needs to be simple. It needs to be consistent, and directions need to be clear. And you really need to be able to name the things and the items that you are using. So that was something that I would definitely point out. As a new teacher in a classroom, I never worked in a classroom before, um, and it was there were certain things that prevented um, that did not allow me to do what I could do, but I did the best of what I had, and I'm so happy that I had a great time doing it. Because sometimes it's not in the mess up. Sometimes it's just being willing to do what you need to do to connect with kids so that kids have the best outcome. And sometimes you just have to go with it and not take things so seriously. So I am happy um, for this experience. I'm gonna go back and do better than I've done on this time. Uh, and I promise you that the best is yet to come. You have a wonderful day, a wonderful evening, or again afternoon. Again, whenever you're watching this, and you be blessed. Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you for the feedback, because it's always wonderful, helpful, and beneficial. And I'll see you the next time. Have a good day. Bye now.